Okay, hello there, I'm Sin and I'm here to recommend 5 books to you. There's no real theme here or anything like that, I'm just recommending books. I'm currently recording this on my phone's front camera, sorry. So I'm struggling to remember to look in the correct place. I keep looking at my screen instead of the camera, so please bear with me if my eyes are just going all over the place, I'm so sorry. And also bear with me on the quality of the audio and just the video in general. My camera is being very weird. She's pretty old, so I don't blame my camera. I really need a new one, but I don't have one, so I guess here we are. I just really wanted to do this and I did not have the patience to try and figure out what the hell was going on with my camera. I was going to do this using the webcam on my computer, but she makes the walls look like they're glowing, so yeah, it's just not an option. Anyway, I'm Sin, welcome. I'm so sorry for this, it's like a really all over the place intro, I'm so sorry. But let's just dive right in and start recommending some books. Okay, so the first book I'd like to recommend is a really short, skinny legend. This is Miss Ice Sandwich by Mieko Kawakami, so this is the book. Screenshot that. Anyway, so this book is a very short kind of just story about a boy who finds this woman at this convenience store. She works with I guess like ice cream sandwiches. I never really understood what it was that she was making, but she worked at a sandwich counter or something like that, and he thought that she was just this beautiful woman, but he's a shy guy. He never really speaks to her. He's got this very just head in the air kind of energy about him, and it's just like a really beautiful story. And yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but she has this like really striking eye makeup that she wears, and that's what draws him into her, and it's just a really quick read, so I guess that's my first recommendation. I hope you like that. I don't know, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm like all over the place. Okay, so the next book / books that I'd like to recommend is the Fazbear Frights books. So there are quite a few of these. I think there are 9, 12? 9? I don't know. There's a lot of them. I currently own up until volume 5. This is specifically volume 3. It's just because, let me do that. It's just because I am reading this one. I'm not specifically recommending this one. I'm just kind of recommending all of them as a whole. So if you have not been here yet and you have not heard me speak about these yet, these are short stories. So each book has 3 short stories, and each short story follows a specific person who is going through a little bit of a horror experience, and it's all based off of lore and just things like that from the Five Nights at Freddy's game universe, but this is specifically obviously in canon to the book universe because these are the books. Anyway, so yeah, it's just 3 short stories, and the short stories are not connected to each other. It's nothing like that. They're literally just separate stories. I don't really know why there's specifically 3. There just are, and this has like things like animatronics and some really weird stuff in correlation to technology, and that's just kind of the whole theme of it, because Five Nights at Freddy's, the game series, is based off of animatronics that are haunted by the souls of dead children. So if you're not into that kind of thing, if you find children going through scary things to be not your cup of tea, then this is not for you. None of these are like happy endings or anything like that. It is horror. I just wanted to put that out there in case. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about this, but I find these to be very fun. They're very quick to get through because they are short stories, and they're just a good time all in all considered. But I do have bias toward these because I really like the FNAF universe, the cinematic book and just game universe especially, so maybe take this recommendation with a grain of salt. It might not be as good as I make it out to be, who knows. Okay, so my next recommendation is this is a true crime thing. So if you're not a true crime kind of person, I just skip this, don't pay attention to me. But I Have Life, Alison's Journey as told by Marion Thom. I don't know how to say that surname. Anyway, so this is a true crime kind of memoir, biography, autobiography of sorts. This is a very, very uncomfortable read. It's a very gruesome, just gut-wrenching type of read. It's not a comfortable thing to read, but if you do find the stories of survivors of true crime to be something that you find interesting, that you find something that intrigues you in that, maybe, I personally I like the inspiration and the hopefulness that comes from someone surviving and turning something so bad into something good for themselves. I find that to be just very beautiful, so I do enjoy these types of things. Enjoy is a term I'm using very loosely here. I don't really know how best to describe this. I wouldn't say that this is a good experience, but the writing is done well. The way that the story is told is what the survivor wanted, and I think that there is certain merit to specifically reading and listening to survivors tell you about their experience. I find that often with true crime, we focus so much on the perpetrator and we give the perpetrator so much of a voice, and it almost becomes the story of the person who committed the crime rather than the experience and the story of the person who was the victim. And I feel like the victims deserve to have a voice, and this is what that is, and that is why I'm recommending this. It's not for everyone. I don't think that this is something I'm recommending in a sense of like, you should go read this. I'm recommending this in the sense of, if you feel inclined to do so, you should go read this, but only if that statement rings true to you. If you feel that you want to, if you hear her story and look into what her experience was, then you should read this. If you'd like to know, I'm going to now tell you. If you don't want to know, please skip. So Alison is a woman. She lived, and I don't know if she still lives, but at the time she lived in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. So she was very young, and she was out with her friends. She was on her way back home, and she was making her way back into her house when she was kidnapped by two men and forced to get into her own car and drive them somewhere. So they tell her where to drive, and they end up saying, okay, stop here. And then once they do, they attempt to her after assaulting her on a sexual level. I'm trying to not like just say these things outright because I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. But she does get a RAPED in this. So yes, she survives, and it's kind of like a medical miracle type of situation. It doesn't make sense that she survived. Doctors don't understand how she survived. She doesn't understand how she survived. And it's just a very harrowing tale of a survivor and of that survivor's experience in surviving. So I think that this is weirdly hopeful, all in all considered, and weirdly inspirational given the content. But yeah, I would recommend it to anyone who's interested. There we go. Okay, this is my second last recommendation, and it is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. So this is also multiple books technically being recommended. It is a trilogy. This is a grimdark fantasy trilogy. We follow predominantly one character who is very morally grey, so if you like that kind of thing, this is for you. I will say definitely check out content warnings, trigger warnings, stuff like that. This is grimdark fantasy. It is set in war. It is set in very brutal, very just like truly terrible experiences type of war. This is just, the whole trilogy feels like a deep dive into the idea of morality, be it in like the case of like war, where it's just very difficult for anyone to be morally correct in the context of war, and how there really are no winners, no good guys in war. Like, yes, there could probably be considered an overall better side, but ultimately it's war and everyone's doing really horrible, really terrible things, and it's just hard to be a morally good person person in these kinds of circumstances, and this just takes a really good look at that. So in case you don't know, this is loosely based off of and inspired by the war between China and Japan, and there are a couple of books that are recommended to read prior to it. I read 2 books before starting the trilogy. You don't have to, and they're really there is no reason necessarily to do that, but I did find that reading this one nonfiction and this other also technically nonfiction did make what I would imagine the experience of this being without that better. So I read specifically the RAPE of Nanking by, I cannot remember the author right now, but I read that, which is a non-fiction. I listened to the audiobook. That was a rough experience. It was horrible, and the research that went into that was insane. I commend that author for the level of effort and just wow that was put into the researching process for that book. And then I also read The Art of War by Sun Tzu, which was something that I had already been considering reading, so it just worked out really well for me. This book has a lot of things that kind of line up with the ideas of the art of war, as well as the things that happen in the nonfiction that I just mentioned. So definitely check trigger warnings again. I just want to put that out there again. Please do yourself a favor, check trigger warnings, because all 3 of these books from this trilogy are gut-wrenching and they are just really heartbreaking, but that's to be expected. It is set in war. So if you were thinking that this was going to be a light, fun time, you would have been very, very mistaken. But now you know, and now you're ready to get into this if you want to prepare for it. Anyway, that is recommendation number 4. Okay, so time for the final recommendation. Okay, this is Dead Man Wonderland by Jinsei Kataoka. I think I'm saying that wrong for that. I'm probably saying that name very badly. I'm so sorry, but I'll put it over here for you to look at. Anyway, so I am holding the 10th volume. This was just on display, kind of out like this on my shelf. So I just grabbed it, but obviously start with volume 1. So this book, and I'm just gonna read this little top paragraph at the back, because this is I think it's on the back of all of them. I don't know if the second paragraph is on the backs of all of these, but I do know that this first paragraph is just on every single one because, duh. Anyway, so it says, framed for the brutal murders of his classmates by the mysterious Red Man, middle school student Gante Garashi finds himself sentenced to death and sent to the bizarre and fatal theme park prison that has risen from the ruins of the Great Tokyo Earthquake, a hell on earth known as Dead Man Wonderland. So for a little bit of context, this is a little bit of a dystopian-esque read, and in this we have sort of a little magical system, magic type system of sorts, but yes and no. I don't really know if it's considered a magic system or not, but kind of, I guess. So if you're not into that kind of dystopian type of thing with magic system-y ordeal, then this is not for you. And also, of course, this is pretty gory. There's a lot of fighting and there's quite a bit of death and there's a lot of blood in all of these. So if that is not your type of thing, then please skip this. But I just wanted to recommend this. I feel like I don't see people talking about this enough. It is manga, of course. I'm sure you can tell by just the orientation, as well as when I flipped through, you could probably see the pictures, the illustrations, the art, whatever you'd like to refer to it as. But this is genuinely one of my favorite mangas I've read. I haven't fully read that many. I'm currently reading Spy Family and Jujutsu Kaisen, but I'm not done with them. And I have read the first volume of a few other mangas, but I kind of just dropped them because I wasn't interested. But this is definitely one of my favorites that I've started and felt inclined to finish. I mean, I own all of them. There are 13 volumes in case you'd like to know before you get into this so you can decide whether you want to, because some people prefer longer manga volume like series things and other people prefer the shorter ones, and I think that that's wonderful. I love that there's so much variation what people prefer. So now you know. Hopefully you guys found something in here in all the books I've recommended that is to your liking. I hope that you had a good time. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you feel inclined to do so. But also, maybe drop a recommendation of your own that is just a random book you've been thinking about a lot. I'm sure we can create some fun little recommendation list in the comment section if everyone participates. But also, if you don't want to, that is fine. You have rights. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day further, or end of your day, or start of your day, whatever the case may be, depending on when you're seeing this. I'm Sin, I've been Sin, and I will remain Sin. Thank you for watching. Bye.